is it early? Oh, if I've been enjoying the summer vacation. My Ryan has me running day and night. Sunday, we took a little drive to Rio Vista, California. Do you remember Rio Vista? I used to do overnights that way, and I would take you for sunrises and sunset videos. Or we would sit along the delta and crochet together. That's Sadie. She's getting cozy on the floor for a long visit. So we drove to Rio Vista, and my brother, his girlfriend, and my niece came. And then Ryan was there, and he did some fishing, not where they were swimming, but like off to the side. Sadie, be nice to our company. She's nosing the foots of your chair, the feet of your chair, foots. So Saturday we were outside fishing at the little man-made pond. Sunday we went out to Rio Vista. He did some fishing for a little while. He takes 2 poles. He takes a pole with just some small, quick bait, small little nibblet fishes. And then he takes his swim bait, crankbait, his sports pole, and he tries for the big fish. He cast out his little pole, and he's doing his little piddly little thing. That one just sits and soaks. He's not so into that one. He likes the interaction, the movement of the big pole. He got his big pole with a weight on it. He cast out as far as he possibly could into the deep channel out there. And I watched him. Man, he really cast out. And it just kept going. And it kept going. And it kept going. And he turns around and he looks at me after it splashes. He turns around and he looks at me and he's like, what happened? What does that mean? And he's like, it's on my line. His line wasn't tied to his reel, and he cast out, and that was it for the day. I guess he'd gotten so many tangles and had to cut off and retrieve so much in the last couple of weeks of fishing that I was devastated, because we drove all the way out there to do this, and this wasn't happening. So messed around with his little pole. We ended up having a great day. We sat out there for, I don't know, about 6 hours. Swimming, lounging, snacking, drinking, doing all kinds of fun stuff. It was a wonderful day. We watched the bridge go up. I put the video in the beginning. That means rewind. I think it's in the beginning of this visit. Watched the bridge go up and down. They had some sand barges going in and out, moving and tunneling out the channel ways for big ships to go through. Had a great day. Got a lot of work done on Miss Josephine. So that was Sunday. Monday, I worked. Monday evening, we went down to the canal, which is just a couple blocks down, and he drowned some worms down there. No big catches. And then Tuesday, we drove an hour and a half north to Ione, California. There is a Lake Amador, and it is a bit of a resort. It's very clean. There's garbages, there's flushable toilets. My oldest went with us, which was amazing, and Ryan went, and a friend went. Lily didn't get to go because Monday through Thursday, she was accepted into the San Francisco Academy of Art, so for their summer program. So she's doing graphic design and 2 other classes. Graphic design, which she's already done the advanced graphic design. She's gone as far as you can in high school, so she was excited to continue that for her portfolio, to have some pristine college. I mean, it's well known. Accept her into their summer program. And then she's got 2 other classes she's taking. We're proud of her, and she's very excited to be taking them. But she's doing that Monday through Thursday. So yesterday, Tuesday, last week, Tuesday. Doesn't the sun just wipe you out? I do. I love to go. I love to be outside. Go on, Sadie. She wants to go outside. I love to go. I love to have fun, but man, my brain is like a little sunburned in there. I stay out of the shade and we take sunscreen. Don't worry about me. It's fun, but it razzles my brain a little bit. So anyway, went to Lake Amador. I found a nice shady spot to sit. I took my rocking chair. I took some drinks, took some snacks, and I worked on Josephine for another, I think we left the house at 7:20, about an hour and a half there, worked on it all day. We left there at, I don't know, 6:30 in the evening, pretty close to 7, hour and a half home, shower and crash. I was wiped out from a good day. But Josephine is back to the crochet point of saying, hello, how are you? So good to see you. Back to the point of our visit, Josephine. So I've had her head done for quite a while. There's pictures at the end. I had her feet done for quite a while. When we're in Rio Vista, I finished her little thighs, our little drumsticks, and I started on the wings. Yesterday, I finished the wings, and so Maria has 2 different ways to start the body. For the body, you can slip stitch. She has a very interesting technique of turning the head upside down and showing you exactly how to count and how to pin, where to slip stitch a 21 slip stitch circle on the bottom of Josephine's head. And from that slip stitch, you crochet off of it, which is an amazing technique, and it would be solid slip stitching on there. So slip stitching versus making the body and then sewing it on. I don't know what would be stronger, but because Josephine is coming together on the go for me, I pondered the technique and I just couldn't wrap my brain around it out in the wild when I was out doing my thing. So I didn't, but her head is done. Now I need to do some face sculpting, and there's some beak sculpting I noticed that's going to help that beak. If you look at her beak tends to, just because you were working in the rounds, it tends to pull one way or another. You see that a lot of that twisting when you're working on blankets and you don't chain 1 and turn after every row, or chain however many and turn after every row. But if you look at her, it's slightly askew. So there is some, you flatten out all that, and then there are some quick little stitches that you place in there to help even her out. So we got face sculpting to do. I've got plenty of yarn, which Josephine is the perfect on-the-go critter because she only had the 2 colors. Her beak and her feet are one color, and then her whole body's been done in this Care on 1 pound. So I've only had to carry that 1 skein with me in my whip bag. So here is her foot. I need to do it to both of them, but I didn't quite stuff enough in the back right here. So I need to use my chopstick and get some stuffing down in there, down in the leg. I snipped off, but I left plenty to close. So I've got 3 rows of just closing that up. I need to dig, and I need to find 2 buttons, because just like with Gwendolyn, I want to attach her legs. Those are mother of pearl little buttons on Gwendolyn, and I love the way that looks. Did you see she had a bottom? I'm trying to decide if I want a bottom on Josephine. Gwendolyn's a sassy chick. She needed a bottom. Josephine's a silly goose. I don't know if she needs a bottom. So I've got Perfect. 2 legs. There's some pictures at the end. There were some pretty little weed wildflowers growing at Lake Amador, some pretty purple ones. And I put her up on the stone table, and just all the little pebbles in the stone, the moss that was growing on the stone, the little wildflowers, her little feet. I couldn't help myself. She was picture perfect, looking cute. Those are at the end. And then, so I got both of the wings done. That was a little cattywampus. Let's see. I got both of the wings done. Again, same design as Gwendolyn. You make 1, 2, 3 fingers. Don't snip off on the 3rd little nubbin. And then you start joining them and working around. Now, Maria didn't say it in her book, but if you ever work these patterns, here's the Amy tip. After you work the first feather finger thing and you snip off, leave kind of a longer tail. Give it about 6-10 inches of tail, and then work the second one. Leave about 6 inches, because when you start joining them, you're working into the stitches across one, and then you grab the next and work the next, and you grab the next and work the next. And when you're working around in between, there are these tiny little gaps. It doesn't matter how small of a hook you're using or how tight you're grabbing that yarn down and anchoring down on it. It leaves a little bit of a gap. It's a toe, it leaves a gap. And I'm working with a 2.5 millimeter hook, so with 4-weight yarn. So I'm really anchoring it down there. But when you're done connecting all your pieces, you go back and you can do just a tiny little simple knot, a little slip stitch of a knot between each one of them, and it takes away that little gap. So that's what I did. And then we got the wings, started the body, and I realized in reading on a little further that the wings will go in between rows, that row and this row and that row. So I knew I wasn't going to do the slip stitch and attach the head. So she recommended starting with a chain 21, which is the equivalent. You'll just sew it on later. And then when we were building up to the little body part, and when I got to the row where later you sew them on, I decided that I was going to sew it in. So I grabbed both loops of those wings, it was worked in around. So I pinched them down and single crocheted them into the correct round. So got her body going. Now we're just working on the straight part of her body, and then there'll be a decrease. So all the fun is over. We've got wings, we got body, we got legs. Isn't her head right here? We got her head. We got Josephine in pieces. When I was taking the little pictures of the feet on the table, my daughter's like, Mom, that's kind of morbid just to have her feet laying on a table. No, you couldn't see that the rest of her body wasn't there. I was like, that's an amigurumi thing. That's fine. That works. I was having fun. This is my slow leisure project to enjoy. So as I was sitting there, the wind would blow and my book would just open up and flip through all the pages, just shuffling through, and it was okay. I didn't worry too much about it. I kind of knew where I was in the middle of the round, and I didn't need my book completely open on my lap and staring at the instructions every time. And my book kept opening to, we were out swimming both days. My book kept opening to the little swimsuit, and it is so cute. And I really, really want to make the flip-flops. I wear flip-flops. I wear sandals. Unless I'm at work. Can't wear them at work. But my toes need to breathe. So I can imagine Josephine's toes need to breathe. So I want to make those flip-flops. But I keep looking at those little overalls. Those little overalls are so cute. And if you remember, one of my thrift store adventures, it's been a while, but haven't used it. went over to St. Vinny's one time, and they had a whole bunch of yarn. And this feels like that silk sari yarn. There's no labels, there's no brand, there's nothing on it to tell me what this is, but it really truly feels like that darn good yarn. That silk sari stuff that when you get their subscription box. It's a roving, and there's some bits on it that I need to trim up. But overall, that is some hot, vibrant yarn. There's a blue and a turquoise. I mean, that is radiant, isn't it? She is a silly goose. I was thinking I want to make her garment out of this. I really want to make the overalls. Her body is just that cream color, just that basic. I think it could handle something bright and vibrant. I'm leaning towards it. What do you think? Some big, bright, go work in the garden, some spring explosion of color. I mean, I have lots of other options. Lots and lots of other options for colors, for garments, for Josephine. And I want both the girls to have lots of outfits. So I will be making more. Some of the simple things like the little dresses, I'm only going to make one and they can share. But when it comes to like swimsuits and rain boots and winter gear, they need two. The girls want to be matchy-matchy. I'm having fun with it. What are you having fun with? What are you crocheting on? Do you have one project that you're dedicated to, or are you working back and forth on multiple items? Josephine has become my leisure time enjoyment. Of course, crochet is always leisure time, right? I've been doing good with the Duck Duck dishcloths. I've been getting that one done on the day that Missy announces, or I've been getting it done like that following weekend. Been doing good with that. My garden flowers, I truly am enjoying those new stitches, those new stitch combinations in the different colors. I'm really enjoying that. I actually have 2 in advance every other week. I know, but I'm enjoying them so much that, I share them with you on a regular basis, but I'm just nibbling at them like potato chips. And then, let's see. Oh! Next week's already summer. Next week is already summer, isn't it? It sure is. Well, we're going to have fun with that. That's a summer 2026 craft along. I have some more patterns for you. And let's see. So we've got Wooblin' Wednesday. That's always fun with the yarn chicken, Duck Duck dishcloth. We've got the gardens, and the summer patterns are on their way. The socks. I know. This is what happened to the first pair. For some reason, in every pair of socks I make, there is this weird stall pattern, stall that happens somewhere in the pattern. Got a little tongue-tied. Coffee. So I realized I'm using my sock ruler wrong. It is right here. On the ruler, it's a me thing. There's nothing wrong with this ruler. Absolutely nothing wrong. It's me. So on one side we have inches and centimeters. It is a regular, average, old ruler. I hold it to my foot. I put my heel at the end of it, which technically that would be perfectly fine. You can totally measure this way. I measure my foot. I think my foot is 9 inches. 9 inches. The patterns that I tend to work, the vanilla sock, traditional blah socks, which I struggle with, so that's perfectly fine. You stop about 1.5 inches before the end of your foot. The little toe, because I work them cuff down, the toe is 1.5 inches. So, okay, so I stop 1.5 inches. So that would put me down to 9 inches. So that's 8 inches is 7.5 inches. I can math, 7.5 inches. When I turn my ruler over, this measurement is for socks. Now, there's a disclosure. Socks are intended to be worn with a 10% negative ease. Negative. You make it smaller than your foot so that the whole socks can stretch and flow with 10% making it fit you. Measurements as shown are finished sock length, not the foot length. Not the foot length. So if you're putting your heel here, these have men and women sizings on them. I wear a shoe size 9, 8.5, 9, somewhere in there, which works well because my youngest daughter wears size shoe 8, and my oldest daughter wears a size shoe 9.5. So I'm always right in the middle. They're always wearing my shoes. I never get to borrow their cute shoes, but they're always borrowing my shoes. Anyway, so if from this size, 9 inches, which doesn't correlate to shoe size, it would mean that I wear a size 7, which would be the 10% ease, right? Okay, so this is foot length, like when you stand on it, the heel goes here and the toes go here, and this is the measurement of your foot. Not putting it from your cuff. Where's my sock? I need a visual on this. Might as well, it's Monday. I do need some inspiration to knock these out because last week I had absolutely no update because I didn't pick them up and I didn't do anything at all, and I didn't even come to visit with you to tell you that. All right, so we have the sock. It is so easy to measure this in inches. No big deal. But that doesn't really matter because I've tried this on many, many times. So from this heel to where I should start my toe. Here's the heel part. Put the heel part in. And it's easy when you do your heel turn that way. It just fits right on there. It's a little triangular pattern definition that it fits perfectly on there. So when I put this on and I pull it all the way up, now I know it, remember that ease part, I'm not even coming up to the measurements at all. It's saying that this, I guess if I give it a little stretch and a tug, it says I'm making women's shoe size 4. Okay, but if I turn it around, I'm at the 7.5, which I know I need to stop because that gives me 1.5 inches to the 9. 1.5 inches, like I'm really pulling this to get it up to the 4, right? Really like stretching that fabric out. If I take the 9 from the other side and I bring it across, it's saying I'm making a 7, which would be the 10% ease. But this is already not representing, I know, I'm overthinking it. In all my procrastination, I'm overthinking it. And you know what really catches me up is I think about socks and how, the Egyptians were making socks, and I go on, social medias like Reddit and that sort of thing, and you have like the history of socks and how most Vikings and Egyptians always made their heels as a, like a second thought, like go back and make the heels last. That way the heels would always wear out first, so that way they could rip the heel out, reattach around that foot, and just insert new heels, and that way they don't have to knit up the whole sock again. They didn't have tools. They didn't have a specific sock ruler that had the 10% ease built in. No, they probably just had a foot, or so-and-so's foot is this much bigger than mine, or so-and-so's foot is this much smaller than mine, and they carried their foot with them so that they could measure as they were working. And if somebody had a big foot and a little foot, you know, my left is bigger than my right or whatever, they would just kind of, you know, leave a couple stitches out and it would be the perfect sock. Actually, the other sock I stopped on because I went to go try it on, and my stitch blockers, my little end pieces popped off, because those are 9-inch circulars, popped off, and I lost a couple of stitches on there, and I was like, ah! So I quickly took the sock off my foot and fixed them, but they need to be 7.5, and I'm going to start decreasing for the toe. When I start decreasing for the toe, I'm already to the part where I need to cut this off. This is all extra. This will be heel and toe on some other sock some other time, or it'll just become a different project. I got 2 of those. I need to tie on my raspberry. See, you got me pulling my socks out, sis, and it ain't even Saturday. That's okay. I don't mind. Procrastination, and I have been procrastinating on these socks. I'm so close to done. Missy got her patch, her silly socks patch from Rainy over at the Woolly Llama shop. See there, I'm right there. They're exactly the same. I need to just snip it off, decrease for the toe. When I decrease and I do my toes, it's like, honestly, it takes me like an hour or 2. That's all that's left on these socks, is maybe an hour or 2 on each. 4 hours tops. One evening, and I can have my silly socks patch. Why do I do this? I don't know. Do you ever do that? When you get close to finishing something, you start nitpicking or critiquing it. Be good to yourself. I need to take my own advice. All right, well, that's all I got going on. All of that. And having fun in between. I'm gonna get dressed. I'm gonna comb the mop. I'm gonna finish my coffee. I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna go say hi to some ladies today and visit and make my rounds. And I have tomorrow off. What do you want to do tomorrow? We should hang out. We should hang out tomorrow. You know, we haven't done a live in a really long time. I don't know. No promises. Tomorrow might be just like the whole day where I'm like, I'm dedicating it to socks. These socks are getting done. This is a socky day off. All right, friends. Take care. I enjoy visiting with you. I hope to see you again real soon. Bye.